top of the Memorial Day weekend to you boys and girls. Let us take a moment and be thankful to those that have served and are serving, those that have given their lives for various causes around the world to ensure democracy, I guess, and actually sometimes just on a humanitarian aspect because people do things that are not very nice. We're allowed to have a pretty interesting and free lifestyle in this country, and it's a direct correlation to those that have served. Thank you for your service to all of those members of any branch of the armed service, at least from my perspective anyway. There's no way our country would be what it is without those, like I mentioned, that have served and that are serving. A lot of people have given up their lives in this process, and let us just be thankful for you and what you've done and the sacrifices that you've made. So today we're going to be testing at the Big Kid Woodlot a couple Super Micro Minis. We have an ms200T stock. You'll notice it's the rear handle version, relatively rare machine. I guess when that was the smallest version, they make a 201. It's that same size. They're the smallest professional saw that I know about in the Stihl lineup. Just an interesting side note, pretty rare configuration versus the standard T version. This is a pretty low hour machine, as you can see. I did add the bigger dog to it, but we're going back to the drawing board with that. I can't say I'm overly impressed. Both of these machines are sporting the fire screens. This has been ported though, sporting the Psy-Ko-ized kit. We're going to do one run with that and see how she does. One thing I did notice after I found some of this PS, it would be the Pico Super Chain, some with the chisel teeth. We have a little bit of a problem because of the low profile design of the chain running on a actual Big Kid bar, if you will. This bar is for like a 362 to 660 size saw. That mounting system had to do quite a few mods at the heel end of it to get it to oil and to fit. The bar change is going to be a real pain in the rear because it's not actually designed to run on these little saws, but we can see that part of the driver is actually sticking out above the rails. That's because this chain isn't designed to work in the same application as the more high profile chain, if you will. Just an interesting side note. I think it's going to be okay for this application. We're just going to make a run through. We'll make two runs with the T. We're going to get the carburetor set as close as possible without taking forever and 6 weeks on my end, both at idle and at high idle. Then we'll probably make one additional run with the T version after we get the carburetor dialed in a little bit more where it should run. I have no idea how that saw is going to pull that bar yet. I guess we'll see. So let us begin. We're having a hard time pulling that much bar. It seems to be running more consistently around 925 or so. When I adjust the position of the dogs, it'll pick up a little RPMs because the chain's not having much of a bite at that point. And we can see once we get a complete mouthful with plenty of chips in the kerf, we're not running very good at all. Okay, like I mentioned, that we're having a hard time pulling that much bar. We're going to do the bar change now. Time for heading to the fridge and get some snacks. It'll be a minute. Okay, so we're in relative close proximity, upper RPM limit. You can tell this saw is a blubbering pig. That saw actually sounded pretty good, the stock version anyway. Let us do a little test run here. So we're running around the same, maybe a few hundred RPMs different. We'll run another slice out of her, see how that works out. And we can see we're doing a little bit better. I can tell that saw is running way better, even at the same upper limit for the high idle needle. Still quite a bit of miss, and we're running about 13.6. Okay, so we're still cutting around 10-9 in the wood. I'm actually kind of having a little fun. We're going to try another little run here. We'll dial the carburetor in maybe around 14. You can see how much better that cuts than the stock saw. The stock saw gets a full bar full and has a hard time even pulling it. This one's going for broke. I got to mention, it's about 80 degrees right now, and it's about 2,800 feet in elevation. That all makes a difference as well. Okay, now we're just right around 14. This saw actually has a complete torque tune on it on purpose, trying to pull that much bar. That's what the potential new owner wanted. You could get a lot more RPMs out of that little saw if you wanted, but you'd be losing on the 24-inch bar situation. As a side note, and we're actually running a little better in the wood, which makes sense. You can hear that thing's got a little crack at high idle, which is a pretty good state of tune. 11.5 was the top. It was running between about, depending on how it works out, maybe 10.8 or something. 10.85 I think was the lowest I saw while it was going through the wood, until I pulled on it down at the end. You could hear it pull the engine RPMs way down, and yet that saw still kept pulling that bar, which is a testimony to how well the Psy-Ko zip kit works when you're talking about pulling a little bit longer bar. Way excessive for this little saw. Seems to do pretty nicely. I'm actually kind of impressed at how well it works. I never thought personally that it was going to do anything at all but fall on its face. Seems to motor right along with a 24. I think that's 84 drivers 3/8 pitch is what that particular chain is. Anyway, we had a glorious day for Memorial, at least out on the West Coast. And again, to all those veterans and people in the armed forces, thank you for your service. And again, without your sacrifices, our way of life wouldn't be anything like what it is. And wherever you might be on God's green earth this day, I hope that you're truly blessed. Thanks for watching.